Welcome to the July 16th City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. I am calling this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started with our invocation and our pledge allegiance by the flag by our City Attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, help us to carry out the tasks necessary for us to fulfill our purpose. Help us to stay on track so that we may let this meeting work for our good and for the good of this community. Help us to be good stewards of positive change to benefit the city of Oldsmar and its residents. And this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Our first item on the agenda is our Oldsmar Open Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to 5-minute presentation on any subject. For the public hearing items, which are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, I will call on you at that time if you would wish to speak. Please state your name and your address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30 p.m. Is there anybody on this side of the room that would like to speak to the council? Come on up. Yep, come on up, Sean.
Good evening, council, mayor, staff. Sean Swagger, 601 Spruce Street, Oldsmar. I wanted to just take a moment to step outside of the campaign, activities that I've been making, and just recognize the city attorney, Tom Trask, for the invocations every council meeting and work session. It really touches me because, they're always different, and sometimes. I know that we're all up here are doing everything with the right intentions, but sometimes we need that moment of prayer, and it just makes a difference. So I just wanted to say thank you to Tom. That's it.
Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hello, Orlando Pena from Ovations Dance Academy of Tampa, 1397 Oldsmar, Hillsborough. I'm excited always to be here to showcase what we're doing. We just had a successful weekend last weekend doing Little Women at the Oldsmar Community Church. It was a success to bring theater thespians to Oldsmar, which that has been my goal. We had a great audience. The first show we had 66 audience members and 65, and then we got to donate 2 palm trees because they had 10 palm trees, and $500 to the church. And we have next weekend, we're doing Cats Junior, and we have 2 of my cats here, and they would like to perform. So you're all invited. I didn't bring any flowers because we're in the middle of rehearsals, and I know we're on a time crunch, so here it is.
He's a mystery cat, he's called the hidden paw. For he's the master criminal who can defy the law. He's the bafflement of Scotland Yard, the flying squad's despair. For when they reach the scene of crime, the cavity's not there. like McCavity. He's broken every human law. He breaks the law of gravity. His powers of levitation would make a faker stare. And when you reach the scene of crime, McCavity's not there. You may seek him in the basement. You may look up in the air. But I tell you once and once again, McCavity's not there. McCavity's a ginger cat. He's very tall and thin. You would know him if you saw him, for his eyes are sunken in. His brow is deeply lined with thought. His head is highly domed. His coat is dusty from neglect. His whiskers are uncombed. He sways his head from side to side with movements like a snake. And when you think he's half asleep, he's always wide awake. McCavity, McCavity, there's no one like McCavity, for he's a fiend in shape, a monster of depravity. You may meet him in a by-street, you may see him in the square, but when the crime's discovered, then McCavity's not there. He's I know he cheats at cards, and his friends are not but when God looks at all the jewel kicks his rifle, but when the milk is missing, or another kicks his out of the greenhouse glass, and the trellis falls from them. There's the wonder of the thing, McCavity's not there. McCavity, McCavity, there's no one like McCavity. He's the name of the thing, a monster of depravity. You may meet him in a box, hidden square. But when the crime's discovered, then McCavity, 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 McCavity. McCavity is not there.
Thank you. So we took more than 5 minutes, but we have a cast of 50, and we added little kittens. So, and they're all Oldsmar and this whole area. So please come see us on Saturday. Good job for dancing around the podium. Thank you so very much. We're going off to be kittens now. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Anybody else on this side of the room would like to speak to council? Come on up. Oh. That's okay.
David Llewellyn, 212 Bengal Circle. First, I would like to thank the city manager. She's been assisting us going through some problems that go back to our original development hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. And she's been, with staff, been really very helpful to us. The other thing is, on the presentation tomorrow night, are we going to have more than just tomorrow night as an opportunity to respond to the developers' presentations or proposals?
Tomorrow night is the night you want to be there to see both proposals.
And that's it.
Yes.
So there's no,
And then you can
no
come back and,
further,
go ahead, you want to go?
no further involvement from the residents after tomorrow.
I would like to offer some clarification, if I might. So tomorrow is just the beginning of the process. So it'll be a trade show open house where the public's going to come and talk directly to the developers and ask questions. You're going to leave comment cards. That's going to be compiled by the consultant to give to the council for their special meeting on August 17th. I think it's August 17th at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. On that day, the council will, public comment is still, it's part of the special meeting.
Okay.
The council is going to hear formal presentations from the developers, and then ask questions, and then rank according to the scoring criteria that was previously approved by the council. Then on August the 27th, at a regularly scheduled meeting at 7 p.m., the council will consider if they want to move forward with authorizing the city manager, me, to negotiate a development agreement. And then, as you know, that development agreement process, once we reach terms, we bring that back to the council. It goes, after it goes back to the council, if the council wants to proceed at that moment, they'll direct 3 open houses. It's more public comment. And then then I'll bring all of the public comment back to the council again. And if the council wants to proceed at that point, they direct the city attorney to draft the legal documents. And then those go to the planning board. Then they come back to the council for 2 more public hearings. There's a video on YouTube that describes the whole process. And it's also on downtownoldsmar.com. So there's
Thank you.
plenty of spots.
6 more chances after tonight.
At least, yeah.
Thank you, David.
I think, did you have something you wanted to add?
No.
Oh, okay.
The open house?
All right, anybody else on this side of the room would like to speak to the council? Come on up.
Hello. I feel like I need to have cat ears and prance around. I'm Pam Settle. My address is 439 Lakeview Drive in Oldsmar.
My name is Jackson Settle, and I am also at 439 Lakeview Drive, Oldsmar, Florida. And I yield my time to this wonderful lady right here.
Thank you. I am here.
Point of order, Mayor. Forgive me, Pam. We no longer allow yielding of time per
Yeah.
No,
council
no,
rules of
right.
procedure.
It's
Just 5 minutes.
Okay. So I'm here to talk about this postcard that I received in the mail and the open house that is tomorrow. And I want to encourage everybody to go to that meeting tomorrow. I want to thank Mayor Saraki for supporting this kind of engagement, because in my 16 years of owning a home in Oldsmar, this is the first time I've received a postcard like this regarding a new development. And it's the kind of communication that builds trust and accountability. And I appreciate this leadership, because it's been a long road to get here for the citizens who want this kind of open participation. It's important for Oldsmar residents to know that this kind of communication was fought for by your fellow residents, your right to participate. This kind of outreach was not implemented in 2021 when the Woodfield apartment proposal came in. No postcards were sent to alert citizens of the presentation or the meeting where council voted unanimously to choose the apartments, these apartments. This rendering of this building was not made open to citizens before the vote. A few months later, the council had a workshop where the city was told that they would have to expand the density in order to get the apartments. I was at that meeting, and it was held at Tampa Armature Works, where there were no cameras, and there was no issue of density discussed in this chamber in front of cameras that would explain to the citizens what this change would mean to them. This is the timeline that was handed out at that meeting. So in response, a group of your fellow citizens stepped up to ask the hard questions and to request an open process. that would include town hall meetings, and we were denied each time, despite that this chamber was filled with concerned citizens who weren't able to register their complaint because they couldn't get in. At that time, the council voted unanimously to move forward with the density increase. Not one member of the council ever made a motion to include citizens in the process. Our disagreement was with the closed, rushed process to build a monstrous building that would forever change the feel of this community and the future of having a downtown that the people want. Knowing that other cities have a community engagement process, we believed that Oldsmar should do the same for something so monumental. We exercised our First Amendment rights to question our government. Yet for doing so, we were maligned by many of you that sit in front of me now, and for those who no longer sit here. We have been called names. We have been accused of spreading misinformation. Very damaging lies have been spread in the community that defame our good names. Years later, it is still happening. Citizens need to ask themselves honestly why those attached to our city government would respond so negatively to citizens who have questions or who are requesting transparency, citizens who are just exercising their rights. Despite the personal attacks, we have continued to fight for the rights of Oldsmar citizens to have a say in their city government. We had an election that resulted in a new mayor, but yet this council still voted 3-2 to give the final approval for the density increase. There's been a lawsuit filed that puts the density issue in limbo until that's settled. This council chose and voted not to settle that lawsuit. They've held a vision session to find out what the citizens want, and we want to preserve our quaint, quiet, walkable community. A new RFP was sent out, and tomorrow we will see the responses. I urge everyone to go to the open house tomorrow and participate. That option to participate was fought on your behalf. Exercise your right to be heard, considered, and respected by those we elect to make decisions and the hired staff who work on their behalf. I'm grateful that our efforts showed the importance of this kind of outreach and hopefully an improved citizen engagement process moving forward. Thank you again, Mayor Saraki, for your work to make this happen. I hope that in regards to this and other developments to come, that citizens will never have to endure personal attacks in the pursuit of open government. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on this side of the room that would like to speak to the council? All right, I'm going to move over to this side of the room. Jerry, do you want to come up first? No? Suda, you want to come up?
Thank you, Mayor Zaraki, council members, staff, community, chamber members, and all of those present. Suda Yanis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East in our wonderful town of Oldsmar. I am for once not here just to advertise my theater and dance that we do so wonderfully together. I am here to send special congratulations, thank you, and applause for the June 25th work session. It was one of the best work sessions I have ever seen council participate in. It was one of the best working environments to work to solve a problem and not let a problem solve you. Working the problem, not letting the problem work us. I was very proud. I have never seen our council work so well together to find a way to solve. And for those that don't know what I'm referring to, really it was in part of the charities and trying to come up with enough money to cover them. And I was so amazed at how you handled it, how you held things off until you could really look at everything as a whole. And although we were one of the many honored, I know that all of those honored that night can't thank you enough for how you worked together to find solutions. That was a council finding solutions. That was not a council taking the quick road, making the easy way. It was a council that worked hard, worked together, and found solutions. And I want to applaud all of council. Thank you for what you've done.
Thank you, Suda.
Thank you so much.
I saw, yes, gentleman in the back, come on up.
My name is Ryan Hayes, 180 Racetrack Road. We came here on February 6, 2024. I addressed all the council city members of who I am and what we're doing. I'll try and refresh your recollection. Sorry about that. Once again, Ryan Hayes, Cairo and Friends. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We bring awareness to humanitarian practices, well-being, mental health, service, and therapy dogs. Outside of Cairo, he is my service dog. We have 2 therapy dogs, another golden doodle and labradoodle, Cleo and Luna. They graduated from the Moffitt Cancer Society back in December. The main reason why I came several months ago was to see if there was any type of office space, any type of buildings residing in Oldsmar that Cairo and Friends can possibly be relocated to. Don't want to put any sad faces on anybody, but I'm pretty sure you're aware. We reside at the Oldsmar Flea Market. We've been over there for over roughly a year and 4 months. I know that there's a certain type of sediment with the flea market, and we are in horrible conditions. There's no AC there. We're working in degrees that reach 102 degrees. Myself, I have volunteers there, have 3 canines there. The store is there to empower individuals. They economize and reallocate funds to their savings. We're partnered with a couple of other main corporate establishments that helps donate to Kairos and Friends. I'm a single man doing everything on my own, and hopefully this might draw off interest. I'm not an individual that has been incarcerated or went through the judicial system and trying to be a good law-abiding citizen and giving back. It's my nature. I'm a humanitarian, and I am kindly asking if the members can try to coordinate or give some type of correspondence. I also emailed every member up here. I CC'd everybody on June 11th. I also have letters just in case if you like to read physically instead of via email. And I'm just trying to establish communication because at this point in time, I feel that there's a soft no resistance of trying to get any type of feedback. And that's basically it. May I present these letters or give this to a clerk member?
Yes, give them to the city clerk, please. Yes, please.
There's 6 about 4 of them. Someone can make copies.
She can certainly make copies, yes.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much. Do you think that I'll be hearing some type of correspondence back?
I think we're going to read your letters.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the city manager or somebody from our city staff will get back.
Because it's just of urgency that I came here in person, sent an email, CC'd everybody, and there's still no correspondence. So I graciously appreciate your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on this side of the room would like to speak to the council? You, come on up, sir. Yes, please. Thank you.
Mayor Srocky, council, thank you for the time. My name is Terry Dellinger. I'm here with my wife Denise. We live at 224 Dolphin Drive North in Gull Village. We're new residents to the city of Oldsmar.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have a situation we're trying to get taken care of that we need some understanding of and some help with. We're trying to enclose our carport. It's already halfway screened in on one side with privacy squares they put up, with from the previous owner. The permits that we're applying for are being denied to put doors across the front of it and one door in the back. And this is mainly a storage. It's not a room for sitting in or anything of that nature. It's just strictly for storage. I have a motorcycle that I'd like to put in there to keep it out of the elements. We've had 2 golf carts that were recently stolen out of the neighborhood, so it's actually a sense of a security issue also. But what I've run into is I spoke with the inspector, and there's been an amendment to a code back in September of 18. It's 15.5.2.2, which is stating that a driveway must be minimum 16 feet in width, and I believe it's 25 feet minimum in length from the property boundary. Unfortunately, these homes that have been put in prior to that amendment, the driveways are usually a standard 12-foot in width. The previous owner had put down pavers that we found out was on an easement. And these pavers are 43 foot long and approximately 8 foot wide, a little bit over 8 foot wide. And I'm assuming he put it in for extra parking. But this was well before, they were done well before the amendment and before naturally we bought our home. So the permits are being denied. The two things that were in question were, again, the 25-foot length, which when the first permit went in, they put it at 17 foot, then they resubmitted at 21, which I think was a mistake. If we can do this, it's going to be resubmitted at 25 feet. That's not a problem. The problem coming into play now is the pavers. Emails are going back and forth, and we're getting different stories here. They're asking me to rip up all the pavers now out of there before I can do anything, and they're calling it land development. I'm not asking for land development. I'm asking to just put 2 doors up to finish enclosing what's already been started and to put siding up to make it look presentable. I can do the 25-foot length. That's not a problem. The 16-foot width, naturally I can't do that. I think 90% of the mobile homes in Pinellas County and the city of Oldsmar, where have you, are a standard 12-foot. You have a few in Gul'Air that might be wider than that they've widened, but for the most part, they can't be any wider than that. I've also got a point on there where it says I would be out of code if I if my wife pulled hers in there and I pulled in behind her. I have to move the one behind in order to let my wife get out. I haven't gotten any clarification on that yet. I asked to see what code that was because I just didn't understand that. All I'm trying to do is close it in. That's it. I can deal with the pavers down the road if that is an issue, but I'm asking for some kind of exception here where I can just close it in and finish what's already been started. I talked to a lot of people in there. It says, yeah, you don't need the permit and just go ahead and do it. And that's not the way I do things. If it requires a permit, I want to follow the right path, which is what we're trying to do. But this has been going on now for over a month. I'm using a reputable contractor that does a lot of work in there. And I'm just trying to figure a way to get this project completed to move on with the next one. I'm told I can maintain them. I can maintain the property if I elect not to dig them up. Well, if I'm not going to dig them up and maintain, I'm really lost on that one. If they have to come up, why would I be able to maintain them then? So I think there's confusion going back and forth. I couldn't get anybody to come out and actually meet with me to say, I thought we were on the wrong page here, or not on the wrong page, but we weren't on the right page here. We weren't on the same page. And I'm just trying to get this closed in. That's it. I'm not trying to put a roof in. I'm not trying to extend anything. It's all there with the exception of the pavers. And if that issue needs to be entertained down the road, I have no problem with that. But I've got a contractor sitting here now with materials that we've put $1,700 down on a deposit back in February, only to find out that the permits won't go through.
Have you reached out to city staff at all?
I've reached out to naturally the inspector's office, the Board of Code Enforcement, who last Thursday, actually, one of the members from the board actually called me that morning and said that she had talked to the inspector and that it looked like everything was going to move forward. And to call him that afternoon.
No.
An inspector from the county?
No, this was from the Board of Code Enforcement. A board member from Code Enforcement called the inspector and talked with him, I believe.
Okay. You're going to have to contact Tantiana in our code enforcement office downstairs in City Hall.
Okay.
Tantiana Childress. Okay?
Childress. Tantiana Childress?
She's right here.
Gonna give you the card.
She's gonna get
Give
you
you
a
your
card.
business card.
Oh,
Get your
okay.
card, okay? Yeah.
This is my first time through this. I've
That's
never had to
okay.
do
You're
this
doing
before.
great.
Glad you're in Oldsmar. We're glad
So-
you're here. Yeah, she'll take care of it. Your wife has the card.
Okay.
And start there, and thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to getting your project done.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Jerry, I think you're the last one. Is there anybody else besides Jerry?
Mayor, Council, Jerry Beeman, 512 Pine Avenue South. First of all, a good friend of ours has a birthday today, and it's Congressman Mike Bilirakis. He was a good friend of the city of Oldsmar, and I want to say one other thing. So wish him a happy birthday. He's a little older than I am, which makes him quite old. I don't know who changed all this after I was mayor, but whenever I was mayor, people could talk out here during the council meetings and not have to be told they can't talk during anything on the agenda. I don't know who changed that, this council or the past council, one of the past councils. But if you're a citizen of the city of Oldsmar, now you know how I am. The city of Oldsmar, I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it whenever I want to say it. And if you're going to affect me, you're really going to hear it. Okay. So I don't know who did all that, but had to be from the council. The citizens of this town pay your salary. They have a right to be heard. Okay. Now. Okay, you're going to let me talk during the city attorney's.
Yes, I'm going to let you talk.
Now, there's two others from the city manager. I want to know what's going to happen to the people that has helped to the Historical Society that my wife and I started in 1992. Are they going to be like friends of the Historical Society, like we have friends of the library? Answer me.
You want to go ahead? Go ahead, Felicia.
All you got to do is say yes or no.
Sure, I don't know if it's gonna be a friend, like a name of a friends group, but we're certainly hopeful that they will continue to support and volunteer.
Okay, that's good, because you're going to get a lot of volunteers once it goes to the library, I'll guarantee you. And the mayor's going to sit there one day, and I'm going to sit there one day. You'll have somebody else sit there one day from about 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So the Historical Society can be open 4 or 5 days a week. I'll sit there 5 hours, and you're going to
So will
sit
I.
there 5 hours. Okay. I don't know who. Can somebody tell me why the Oldsmobile wasn't in the Oldsmobile parade?
Why what?
Do you know why? You're
Was
talking
our
about the
Oldsmobiles in the
1901?
Oldsmar Day Parade? The Oldsmobiles were not in the Oldsmar Day Parade. Nobody knows that?
No, the Oldsmobiles were in the parade. Are you talking about the 1901 Oldsmobile?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
The 1901 Oldsmobile and the Oldsmobile, the 2006 were not in the parade. Is there a reason for that?
I can follow up.
The 2006 convertible was in the parade,
We don't have a 2006 convertible.
or is it 2004?
We don't have the convertible was from Janice.
Right.
Are you talking about the curved dash? The one that,
The Curved Dash was not in the parade.
right, but I thought that the only person who knew how to drive it.
Oh, come on, anybody can drive that. I can drive it.
Well,
My
I don't know.
blind son can drive it. Okay, that's enough of that one, but I want to see him in the parade. Anybody can drive it.
I have no
All you
idea
gotta
why
do
it
is
wasn't.
move
in
the stick. Okay, that's fine. I've had a lot of people ask me about our new logo. I didn't get involved in it. I don't have a right to get involved in it because I'm not on the council. I'm out here with these people out here. A lot of people has talked to me about it. It looks like a fried egg in a skillet falling off the skillet. It doesn't tell you anything. We were started by an automobile builder, the city of Oldsmar. Can somebody explain to me what the logo says to you? What does it say to me? Looks like a fried egg.
Alicia, would you like to answer that?
Sure, there's actually, Jerry, I'll be happy to send you a video that I think captures exactly what the logo means.
Please send me the video, because I can look at it and I can't tell what it's telling me. Okay. I was mayor, no, I wasn't mayor then, I was on the council when I saved the downtown redevelopment. I saved it. They thought I'd killed it, but I saved it. Okay, when I was mayor, we programmed it. How much money have we gotten actually? A round ball figure. Somebody tell me how much money we've gotten. I don't care about that. How much money have we gotten?
We're gonna get back to you on that. Keep going.
How much money about have we gotten from the downtown redevelopment?
I'm sorry, I don't know the question. If you're talking about from the CRA trust fund?
Yeah, the CRA.
It's over the 30 years, it's $5.8 million.
That's 5.8 million free dollars. Now, what's happened when we have something down here, you use that money for this downtown redevelopment area. That means people in Forest Lakes doesn't have to pay for it. In the preserves, they don't have to pay for it. Their tax dollars doesn't go to it. That's extra tax dollars. Now, I haven't been on council for a while. Now, you want to sunset it. Okay, let me tell you this. If you want to sunset the downtown redevelopment, I hope you have a good reason. It's free money. Well, everybody else has hit it. I can too, I guess. Put your hands down. I will make it a campaign issue. If you want to get rid of downtown redevelopment, if you don't have a good reason to sunset it. Now, if there's a good reason to sunset it, I'm all for it. If it's not a good reason to sunset it, you're going to have me running my mouth for the next 4 or 5 months, probably have me until the day I die. I want to thank the council for listening, and I thank you for your buzzer. I'll shut my mouth now. Thank the council for listening to me, and y'all have a great day tomorrow.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the council? All right, with that, I'm going to close the Oldsmar open forum. Our next item on our agenda is the community minute. That will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. The community open house will be tomorrow, Wednesday, July 17th, 4 to 8 p.m. at Tico Hall in the library. The city received 2 proposals for the redevelopment of the Town Center City Hall 8-acre site. In accordance with Florida statute, these proposals will not be disclosed until tomorrow, July 17th. This is your chance to learn about the proposals, ask questions directly to the developers, and share your feedback. Pledge to evacuate. This new initiative is to encourage residents to take proactive steps by committing to a well-prepared evacuation plan that includes your residents, property, and family members. More information is available on oldsmarstrong.com.
That's it? Okay, thank you so much. Next item is approval of additional new agenda items. There's quite a few now. We've been gone for a month, so there's item 5, 6, 7, 12, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 29, and 30. Those are all new agenda items. I'm looking for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion, the second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is awards and recognition. It's the presentation of the Business of the Quarter Award for the second quarter for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce for 2024, and I will be doing that this evening. Test. Test, test. All right, we're working. Mayor Dan Saraki is honored to give the Upper Tampa Bay Business of the Quarter Award for the second quarter of 2024 to Goodwill Industries, Suncoast Inc. We have attending tonight is Heike Emmerich, store manager from 2005 with Goodwill in Oldsmar when the store opened in 2009, and she's been the store manager since 2011, correct? And, you know, I asked her tonight if she had any 8-tracks, and she said no, they don't have them anymore. But anyways, if you ever get some, you call me. All right, and then we have Jabbar Graham, who is our Associate Vice President for Fund Development. Mr. Graham is responsible for managing all of Goodwill's donations, locations across 10 counties. His leadership ensures convenient and accessible ways to donate. He also organizes community-wide yard sales, providing donors with convenient ways to contribute to Goodwill's cause. In addition, he implemented a successful fundraising program for schools and groups and led Goodwill's self-sustainable efforts by managing, selling, and analyzing goods to reduce their impact on landfills. Throughout his career, Mr. Graham has consistently demonstrated unwavering commitment to driving the mission of Goodwill Industries Suncoast Inc. His passion for fostering a positive impact in our community is evident with his endeavor. What do? The mission of Goodwill Suncoast is transforming lives through lifelong learning and the power of work. The mission is accomplished through employment services, training programs, and affordable housing. The sale of donated and new goods at Goodwill stores enables the agency to offer a variety of employment and training services, promote self-sufficiency, and contribute to community conservation through recycling. Thank you for your dedication to the City of Oldsmar's community. We are grateful to have you in our city, and congratulations. Come on up. I'm honored to give you the second quarter of 2024 from the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations. Thank you for being dedicated. They're going to take a photo. Thank you for being dedicated to our city. I remember when you opened in 2009. I was so excited you were there. I mean, I think our council member Andrew Knapp even bought a suit coat there from you guys. Is that right?
2 different ones.
See, 2. See, he wears them to city council, so you guys are doing the right thing. You want something to...
Thank you guys so much for your time, council members, clerk, city manager, and also mayor. Thank you guys so much, city members, residents of Oldsmar City as well. We have said, like we've been here since 2009, your donations to the community help us to make a major impact on the people that we serve in the 10 counties that we're currently in right now. And one of those big things that I love to talk about is our Bookworks program in financial literacy and giving back to young kids and preparing them for the future. Last year alone, we were able to give out more than 52,000 books to kids to help them with reading and early childhood literacy. We also were able to divert 55 million pounds of goods from landfills from your donations. And we're at about a 17% reduction in our donation rate, where we're able to take your donations, reduce that, and turn that into something else. And I would love to also tell you guys about our sustainable efforts, where we're now able to take some of your clothing items that are no longer able to be used or repurposed, and we're now turning those into socks, and those socks are now in sale inside of our Oldsmar store. So if you guys are ever inside the Oldsmar store again, we have our special rack where we have our sustainable awesome socks is what they called. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the Goodwill organization and seeing behind the scenes, I would love to provide each and every one of you an opportunity for a tour, of a personal tour of our facility over off Gandy Boulevards, and show you guys behind the scenes how we work and how we operate and why it's so important for us to help impact the community. But thank you guys so much for this opportunity and for this award as well.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Next item on our agenda is the consent docket. This will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Item 2, approve minutes of the June 18th, 2024 council meeting. Item 3, approve minutes of June 25th, 2024 council work session. Item 4, approve payment to legal counsel for June 2024 legal services. Item 5, approve payment of May and June 2024 legal services to Bartlett, Loeb, Hens, and Thompson, PLLC, for Eric Seidel's litigation defense. Item 6, approve reappointment of regular member Dale Renbour to the Planning Board. Item 7, approve the purchase of Peterbilt Jet vac truck for the Distribution and Collection Division to EverVac Equipment LLC per the pricing terms and conditions of the Sourcewell contract CC 24-023. Item 8, approve and execute work order number 2 under General Engineering Services RFQ 2023-002 to Jones Edmonds and Associates, Inc. for the Forest Lakes Boulevard Utility Coordination and Relocation Services. Item 9, approve sole source procurement of Neptune products and services related to water meters and registers for the water meter upgrade project from Ferguson Waterworks per notice of intent to single source 2022-003-SS. Item 10, award contract to National Metering Services, Inc. for water meter replacement project under the same pricing, contract terms, and conditions as Pasco County IFB-SN-23-007. Item 11, approve purchases of brass fittings, meter boxes, and lids for the water meter upgrade project from Core and Main LP per the same pricing, terms, and conditions of City of Boynton Beach contract number WH22-047. Item 12, authorize payment to WOW Business for the underground conversion of facilities for the St. Petersburg Drive Complete Streets and Bayview Drive Roundabout project.
Great job. You did it. Thank you so much. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent docket? All right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is our city attorney, Tom Trask. You ready? We got 7 public hearings.
And 4 resolutions, too.
All right, you got the floor.
All right, so item number 13 is a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2024-09. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2024-09, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Chapter 70 Utilities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar to create a provision to establish fees for water sampling of private water systems, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2024-09 by title only.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. If there's any citizens that would like to speak for or against this item, come on up. Seeing there are none, I am going to close the public hearing. I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion? Yes.
Nope.
Nope. Motion in a second?
No, I was just pointing for the
Oh,
second.
okay.
Yep.
I got a motion in a second. Roll call.
Mayor Graber?
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Sharaki?
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-09 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Okay, item number 14 is the public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-07. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2024-07, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending subsections 14.6.1, 14.6.2, and 14.6.6 of Section 14.6 alcoholic beverages of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar to provide for updated reference to Florida statutes, amending Section 14.6.3 of Section 14.6 to address minimum distance requirements for certain mixed-use zoning districts, amending sections 14.6.2.1, 14.6.2.2, and 14.6.3.2 to include the ROR Residential Office Retail District into the list of permitted districts, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-07. I'm not sure if Tatiana has a presentation? Okay.
Tatiana Childress, City of Oldsmar Planning and Development Director. Good evening. So this is text amendment to section 14.6 of the Land Development Code, Alcoholic Beverages, case number CA2403. This is a city-initiated text amendment due to the agenda item that you will see on your on the next item, which is the educational facilities. So the city received a text amendment to allow educational facilities within the town center commercial residential district by conditional use. And at the same time, we had to evaluate how this may affect other businesses. So when we looked at the current buffers, so you'll see that in Land Development Code section 14.6.3, this section provides minimum distance requirements for alcoholic beverages sales for off-premises and on-premises consumption. So the following tables provide the minimum distance requirements between the off-premises and on-premises alcoholic beverage sales establishment and the specific land uses. So these land uses are described in both of these tables. As you can see, that residential is already addressed for both on-premises and off-premises. However, we have churches and schools and childcare facilities that are still pretty restrictive. So then we also, at the same time, PAC, the Pinellas Advisory Committee, they have like a PAC poll. So we have 22 municipalities, and they've initiated kind of like a poll to see what other municipalities are doing. And by reviewing the neighboring municipalities, we saw that a lot of districts in mixed-use district, Main Street district, in like Safety Harbor and Dunedin, they actually have reduced buffers because due to this mixed-use nature of these districts. So currently, again, these distance requirements are already addressed in all of our mixed-use districts for residential only. And so what this text amendment is really doing is allowing all of the uses in the mixed-use districts to not have these buffers. This is just a map of our districts. So you'll see that we have the TCCR, this is Town Center Commercial Residential, Mixed Use District, TCCN, Town Center Commercial Neighborhood. Then we have the ROR that we're adding in the code, Residential Office Retail, and also the PUD or IPD. So those are the four main districts where we have the mixed use provisions. The ROR, Residential Office Retail District, it permits all of the C2 uses. C2 uses are the commercial general district. And this is just a housekeeping item. So ROR district, that's where we have the Walgreens. So they do sell off premises, and we have that daycare right next to it. So this is pretty much a summary. So the mix of uses attracts residents, workers, and visitors, creating an active urban atmosphere, essential for a vibrant and economically dynamic environment. And so we're initiating this text amendment to section 14.6.3 of the Land Development Code, removing distance requirements of alcoholic beverages sales establishments in the MUPD, TCCN, TCCR, and ROR zoning districts. In addition, as I mentioned, this request includes the amending the alcoholic beverage sections to reflect the current Florida statute references. Thanks so much, Tom, for catching that. And also for clarity, we're including the ROI Residential Office Retail District to the list of the permitted district for clarity of the code application. So the text amendment was reviewed against the three conditions outlined in section 3.13.2. The amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and advances the purpose of the Land Development Code. The comprehensive plan and the land development promote sustainable urban areas by encouraging balanced growth, economic development, and improved quality of life by allowing greater flexibility for businesses within the established mixed-use district. The amendment supports the plan's vision of creating active and walkable neighborhoods. The amendment will contribute to promote the community welfare by reducing the distance buffers. Various businesses will allow to sell alcohol and operate in a mixed-use district, and it will enhance the urban experience and encourage social interaction and engagement. This amendment promotes a more active and economically diverse environment, and also the amendment will not grant a special privilege to an individual property owner by uniformly applying the exempt distance requirements across the established mixed-use district. The amendment will create an equitable environment that supports the growth of diverse businesses without favoring specific entities. And based on the above discussion and the review against section 3.13.2, staff recommends approval of the amendment as presented. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff? We'll start with Councilmember Gannon. Any questions for staff?
No, I watched the planning board meeting. I saw that the vote recommendation to the council was unanimous, 6-0, and I understand the presentation and the reasoning behind it. Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you.
Councilmember Knapp?
No questions.
Okay. Anybody at this side?
No
Vice
questions.
Mayor?
I also watched the planning board meeting. I thought they had a really robust conversation about it, but no questions.
All right. All right, thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I am going to open up the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this item, for or against? Come on up. In there.
Jason Sanders, 101 South Bayview Boulevard. I just wanted to speak out as a proponent. If you saw the planning board meeting, I was there as well. Just wanted to say I think that by reducing these boundaries, I think it'll really help with the diversity downtown that you're going to have with the amount of businesses and where they can be placed. Be definitely less restrictive as to where people may be able to go or not go. So I just think it's a good overall plan to go ahead and identify these issues now and take care of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this item? Come on up. Okay, with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor.
Second.
A second from Councilmember Knapp. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-07 passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
All right, thank you. Item number 15 is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-11. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2024-11, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending the Town Center Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, amending Section 2.1 General to include the definition of educational facility, amending Section 3.2.1 Prohibited Land Uses and Structures to remove primary or secondary schools from the list of prohibited uses within the Oldsmar Town Center, amending Section 3.7.3 Conditional Uses to allow for educational facilities in the Town Center Commercial Residential District, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the reading of ordinance 2024-11 by title only. Tatiana, do you have a presentation on this one as well?
I do not. I could present if needed. It's the same presentation as we had last time, unless you have questions.
So I know that the public can't hear that because Tatiana was off camera, but she says she does not have a presentation. If you have questions, she'd be happy to answer them.
Okay.
Any questions?
Do we have any questions for staff?
No.
No? Okay, we're
right.
good.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
I am going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak for or against this item? Please come on up. Oh, come on up. State your name, please.
I'll stand again if you don't mind. Jason Sanders, 101 South Bayview Boulevard. Yeah, again, as a proponent for this, I think that having the educational facilities, allowing them to come downtown in this area is a great addition to the area. I mean, it'll really lend to the vibrancy of the area and the activity. So I think this is exactly a portion of what you were looking for with the downtown development or with this land use. So definitely for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this item? With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All right, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-11 passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Okay, item number 16 is the quasi-judicial hearing to approve architectural renderings and a concept plan and consider variances for the property located at 3880 Tampa Road. The request is for a side yard setback variance from 5 feet to 2.5 feet, regular parking stalls with variance from 10 feet to 9 feet, and an ADA parking stall variance from 15 feet to 12 feet. It is a quasi-judicial hearing. I'll read those procedures so that you have them in front of you. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the city council members act in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At this hearing, it is not the council's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In this hearing, the city council is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances and in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The city council may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the city council is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the city council is required by law to find against the applicant. At this point, I need to ask the council members if they need to disclose any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest.
No, sir.
Not seeing any. Okay, I need to go ahead and swear in all witnesses. They're going to be speaking tonight. Anyone that's going to speak on this, if you could stand up, raise your right hand and be sworn under oath. Is the applicant here? Nope. Okay. You swear that the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now it would be time for staff to make its presentation.
Good evening, Matt Jackson, Principal Planner, City of Oldsmar. Tonight we'll be discussing variance case 24-01 for 3880 Tampa Road, building architectural approval and variance requests. The location is 3880 Tampa Road, bound by Tampa Road to the north, the Mount Vernon right-of-way to the south, commercial development to the east, and adjacent to the FDOT pond to the west. The zoning of the property is M1, limited manufacturing district, and per the district standards, office professional uses are allowable, including veterinarians. The land use is industrial limited, and the site is located within the Tampa Road corridor. This is a photograph of the existing site conditions, which contains a building, 2,560 square feet for the veterinary clinic office, and 8 parking spaces. For the site plan, it's important to note this was actually approved under variance case 21-08, approved in June 2021, and this is almost an identical application. This is for an upgrade of the existing veterinary office building, construction of 2,510 square feet of additional building, a new street connection to Mount Vernon to the south, increasing the number of parking spaces, enhanced landscaping, the addition of gutters on the west side of the building. The project will have a floor area ratio of 0.167, where 0.55 is the maximum allowable, and an impervious surface ratio of 0.59, when the maximum allowable is 0.80. Some site specifications. For the office use, it does require 3.5 parking spaces for 1,000 square feet of gross leasable area, which does require 18 parking spaces where 21 are proposed. 1 handicap parking space is required and 1 is proposed. The property does have existing vehicular access to Tampa Road, and as I mentioned, there will be additional access to Mount Vernon to the south. The property has an existing 5-foot sidewalk parallel to Tampa Road, and there will now be a pedestrian access from that sidewalk to the building, and then payment in lieu will be required for any sidewalks required along Mount Vernon Street. The applicant proposes a two-story building facade as required by the Tampa Corridor standards. The proposed building provides a cohesive pattern of acceptable earth tone and muted colors, and the proposed exterior finish of stucco is consistent with the district regulations. One of my favorite parts, they're having a decorative bicycle rack, which is required. For standards, they have to have bicycle parking, and they have to have a more enhanced design, and so you can see that there. As far as the other elevation, that's just what's going to look like, but it's also important to note that the building will be dry flood proof to meet FEMA base flood elevation of AE 12. So for the first variance, they're requesting a decreased side west setback from 5 feet to 2.5 feet. The justification is the site is narrow and constrained. The adjacent lot is designated FDOT Southwest Florida Water Management District retention pond, and no foreseeable development on site, and it's going to mimic the existing side setback there. We're also, the request is also to decrease regular parking stall size width from 10 feet to 9 feet. The justification there is that decrease in stall size will decrease overall impervious surface and stormwater runoff, and allows for increased landscaping and green space and tree preservation. The third request is to decrease the ADA parking stall width from 15 to 12 feet, and the justification is that it decreased in size conforms to ADA and Florida Building Code design requirements, and local higher standards do not provide meaningful benefit to those with disabilities. It's also important to note that per design standards, the parking stall is supposed to be 20 feet in depth, but it can go to 18 feet in depth per normal code requirements without asking for a variance if the remaining 2 feet are added to the required landscaping dimensions for the areas adjacent to the parking stalls. And there's going to be plenty of landscaping to meet that requirement. So, as with all variances, it was reviewed against the 10 conditions outlined in section 3.17.3. And I'd like to read the pertinent conditions into the record. The first is that the special circumstances or conditions applying to the structure or premises in question are peculiar to such structure or premises and do not generally apply to other structures or premises in the vicinity. For the side setback variance, as mentioned, the owner is requesting that variance due to the narrow lot side constraint, and furthermore, the side of the building for which the variance is sought is adjacent to the FDOT property with a retention pond, ensuring the granting of the setback variance will have no impact on the property to the west. Then the variance for the size of the accessible parking spaces. According to section 15.8.3 of the City of Oldsmar Land Development Code, accessible parking stalls are required to be 15 feet in width and 20 feet in depth. To align with the current Florida Building Code standards, the local higher accessibility standards do not provide significant benefits to individuals with physical or visual disabilities, while also presenting additional expense challenges to the development community. Also, to reduce the regular parking space width from 10 feet to 9 feet. Again, according to section 15.8.3 of the Land Development Code, the stalls are supposed to be 20 feet long and 10 feet wide. The requested variance would allow for a reduction in the width of the regular parking space from 10 to 9 feet. This adjustment aims to decrease the overall impervious area and reduce stormwater runoff on the site. And following is that note that I discussed before, discussing the depth of the parking stall. And next condition, the granting of the application is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a property right and does not merely serve as convenience for the applicant. The variances are requested to create a functional site for the existing veterinary business on the commercial site. Next two conditions, the request is not the result of any action by the applicant beforehand. They're going through the variance process prior to developing the site. And the variance requested is the minimum variance that would make possible a reasonable use of the land, building, or structures. And the variance request represents the minimum modification necessary to allow the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure. The applicant is seeking this variance due to the site constraints while bringing the entire site into compliance. And the requested parking width variances, again, will enhance the overall impervious surface area, increase green space, and they are meeting all their ISRs. Last condition that I want to discuss is the request is not based on the applicant's desire to secure a greater financial return. The side setback variance is requested to preserve the existing building line necessitated by the narrow lot constraint. And again, the parking stall variance aims to reduce overall impervious area and enhance on-site green space. This request is motivated by the intent to increase on-site landscape area rather than to secure a greater financial return. I apologize, I had one more. The granting of the variance will not be detrimental or injurious to other property or improvements in the neighborhood in which the property is located. So the approval of the setback variance will not be detrimental to surrounding properties. The side of the building on which the variance is being requested is adjacent to the FDOT retention pond, which is unlikely to be developed. As such, that side setback reduction will have no negative effect. And approval of the parking variance will not be detrimental to surrounding property owners. As previously discussed, it's more for enhancing the greenscape and increasing pervious surface. In summary, the application will allow the property to continue to be used as a veterinary clinic with enhanced landscaping and building design for a veterinary clinic, serving the community consistent with the development pattern of the surrounding area, meeting all 10 conditions for variance. As such, based on the application meeting, the LDC section 3.17.3, staff does recommend approval of the aforementioned variances. At this point, I'd like to also request that the staff report be accepted into the record.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff?
No?
All right. Great job, Matt. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Okay, I need to ask again, is the applicant here tonight? Okay, if you'd like to step forward, you'd like to make a presentation?
I'm the practice manager.
You can't be speaking from back there. I need you up at the microphone.
No, go ahead, please. You go, please.
Sir, were you sworn in earlier?
Yes.
Yes.
It was.
Okay, if you could state your name and give us whatever presentation you would like on this.
Peter Gottschalk, architect, 4745 Patagonia Place in Land O'Lakes. I think the project was beautifully presented. There's very little that I can add. Of course, I encourage approval. We were here 2 years ago. I think some of you may remember that. In the interim, Dr. Kitts has spent a great deal of time refining the program and making the project, so the facility can even better serve the community, and she's worked very hard at it. They'll be committing a fair amount of money to do this, so we really need to get going. And by the way, this is my third visit here. I've been doing this for about 50 years, and I've been to a lot of places, and I have to compliment Oldsmar because it is the only place that I have worked where so much attention is paid to how things work, how things look. I wish it happened in more places, but so it's always nice to work here. And again, I want to thank you. This was tonight. I don't think I've ever been entertained at a public hearing before. I loved it. Thank you very much.
Okay, hang on just a minute, sir. Any questions for the applicant?
I have a question regarding.
Councilmember Gannon, go ahead.
Thank you, sorry. I have a question regarding a comment that we received. I'm not sure if the applicant is aware of it or could provide any insight into the reasoning for it.
Are you talking about the email that was received on July the 8th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm just going to read that out loud. This is from the city clerk's office. It says, "We received a verbal comment from Mr. Ken Fringle, property owner, 3884 Tampa Road, who said he was against the variance request at 3880 Tampa Road."
I know that was.
Have you had any dealings with the property owner next door at 3884 as to why he would be objecting to the
No,
application?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, if you want to step forward then, if you have, yeah, I'll swear her when she gets up here, Mayor. Okay, I'm going to need you to be sworn under oath. You swear that the testimony we're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, if you could state your name, and if you had a response to that email or that note?
I can make a comment to it. So my name is Mary Ann Carlton. I'm the business manager for Woodlands Animal Hospital. The owner of that property actually reached out to us about a week and a half ago, asking us if we would be interested in buying the property. It's not a property that would be useful for what we need. The amount of work that would need to be done there is much more, honestly, than what we've already worked on so far. And it's too big of a piece of property the building is too big for us at this time. So I think that I can only assume that the reason why he's opposing that is because he was hoping we would buy it. But we are not going to buy that property.
Okay. Did that answer your question, Councilmember?
Yes, that answers or provides some additional insight perhaps. It was a very short statement, and so I was just curious if anybody on the applicant side had any knowledge as to where the objection might come from, but that does help me understand the issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, before you sit down, any other questions for the applicant or the architect?
No.
All right, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, we need to open it up to the public. Anyone from the public wanted to speak on this? Okay, Mr. Llewellyn, you weren't sworn in. I need to swear you in. You swear the testimony about to give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So help me God.
Okay.
Uh,
If you could state your name.
David Llewellyn, 212 Bengal Circle, Oldsmar. We have been going to this veterinary clinic for 9 years, and this doctor is the second owner of this facility. She does an impeccable job, and the staff that she has is overwhelmingly good. I've never had a dog that loves going to the vet. I mean, it's just impossible. But they all love her, and she's ferocious at 10 pounds. I would just hope that we would approve this request, because I would hate to see anything happen to this great fixture in Oldsmar. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, come on up. I need to swear you in then.
I think she did.
You were sworn in earlier?
I raised my hand.
Okay, thank you.
I'm the practice manager over at Woodlands Animal Hospital, and I'm from Buffalo, New York, and
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Allen,
Mafia.
my cousin's neighbor.
We need your
Just
name.
calling people to move here.
So, I know, but I
Name.
have to say, and thank you so much for
get
everything
it.
you said about Dr. Kids. I have never met a more passionate, wonderful woman as Dr. Kids. I've worked for 12 years up in New York. I've been practicing for 30. And when I moved here, I was afraid I was never going to find home, because you know how Buffalo is. We're very tight-knit up there.
Absolutely.
But I have found my home here in Oldsmar. And I want to thank all of you, but there was a personal setback for Dr. Kitts in 2021. But let me tell you, if it wasn't for that setback, we wouldn't have been here 3 other times. But we're ready, we're ready to expand. We're a staple in Oldsmar. She has almost 3,000 clients herself. And it's not about the revenue, it's about the patients. She wants to eventually open up a rescue. We all talk about it, but they have the same passion. She has the same passion for Oldsmar, and she wants to, be part of the community days and be a staple for your community. And that's why she planted it here, and that's why we call it Woodlands, because we don't want to take away from the land. That's why it's called Woodlands. So I'm just all for her. We've been supportive. She's got a great community here who supports her 100%. And I just wish she was here to see that. But thank you. I had to say something.
Who comes up with the really awesome billboards, though? Because those are so funny.
Oh my God,
so
can I
fun.
tell you a
Brightens my day.
story? I just have to tell you a story. So that's our assistant, Ann, who's no longer with us because she's older and she can't restrain animals anymore. But now it's our other assistant, Alexis Davis, who we just hired.
So funny.
It's hysterical. We have a client that has been with us well before I started 5 years ago. And he was pulling into the parking lot, and our mailbox is right there, and he was reading the sign, and when he pulled in, he ran right over our mailbox. And he came through the front door with his dog leashed on his arm, and he's like, I ran over your mailbox because I was laughing at your sign. He goes, don't tell my wife. So he paid for it and everything, but we gave him his money back. But it was super cute because everybody know, when I go, I wear my brand proud. When I go to store after work and everything, and they're like, "You're from Woodlands. I love your sign. You're the best." They're like, we always wait to see every month what's going to be there. But I just want to say, like, she worked long and hard for this, and I heard Dr. Odlin, who was there prior to her, was an amazing, amazing man. And I just hope she carries on that legacy for Oldsmar, to be a good veterinarian to all of you and your babies. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, we need your name now.
It's Antoinette Cummins.
Okay, thank you.
So Councilmember Graver's from Buffalo, and so am I. I'm from Lancaster Depew, and you're
West
from
Seneca.
West Seneca.
Orchard Park, I went to West Seneca West, great school.
There you go.
I went to West Seneca East.
Oh, we were right.
Oh, rivalry.
You're in Trojan territory, yeah.
I went to St. Mary's in Lancaster. We didn't play either one of you.
Yeah.
Anyone else from the public want to speak on this agenda item? Okay, Mr. Jackson, do you have any summary that you wanted to give, or are you satisfied with your presentation?
I'm satisfied with the presentation.
All right, thank you. And does the applicant want to present anything further as a summary, sir? No? Okay. All right, it's back to the council. for
All right, we're going to
consideration.
close the the open public hearing. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item?
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same motion, so
That would
I just
be-
want to read out loud what the recommended motion was.
To approve architectural renderings, conceptual site plan, and 3 variances for 3880 Tampa Road, which include decreasing the side setback from 5 feet to 2.5 feet, reduce regular parking stall width from 10 feet to 9 feet, and reduce ADA parking stall width from 15 feet to 12 feet.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's a motion. And who second? I'm sorry. Okay, Councilmember Knapp second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber.
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes.
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp.
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Mayor Shiraki.
Yes.
Agenda item 16 passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you all for coming out. It's nice to see you all.
Okay, item number 17 is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-14. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2024-14, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending subparagraph 3.8.2.4 of subsection 3.8.2, establishment and procedure of section 3.8, Board of Adjustment of Article 3, Administration and Enforcement of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, to revise the attendance requirements of the Board of Adjustment, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-14 by title only.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearings. Anybody like to speak on this item? With that, I'll close the public hearing. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber.
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes.
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp.
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Mayor Shiraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-14 passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 18 is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-15, which I will read by title only. Ordinance 2024-15, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending subparagraph 3.9.2.4 of subsection 3.9.2, establishment of procedure of section 3.9, City Planning Board of Article 3, Administration and Enforcement of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, to revise the attendance requirements for the Planning Board, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-15 by title only.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak for or against this item? With that, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Vice Mayor. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by, roll call.
Vice Mayor Graber.
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes.
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp.
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Mayor Shiraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-15 passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Item number 19 on the agenda is the public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-12. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance number 2024-12, an ordinance amending section 2-2 of Article 1 of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, to increase the salary paid to the mayor and council members, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-12 by title only. I just want to mention a couple of changes that were made. This is with regard to section 2.2 or 2-2, changing the salary for the council members from $8,400 to $10,000 a year and $833.33 per month. And for the mayor, it would be increasing the salary from $10,800 to $12,000, and that would be paid in increments of $1,000 a month. In addition, this ordinance would become effective immediately. However, the salary increases would not become effective as to any sitting council member or the mayor of the city council until the expiration of their current term of office. So that with that,
Thank you.
public hearing.
All right. Public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on for or against? Come on up, Jerry. That's your beeper.
I know what it is. I was mayor, I started that crap. When I wasn't mayor, the open forum went for 2.5 hours one night. And I told the, when I became mayor, it'd never happen again. You weren't here then. I want to thank you for your prayers. I really do.
You're welcome, Mayor.
I've only disagreed, for 29 years, I've disagreed with the city attorney one time. And I thought I was sinning by doing that. And I apologized to him that I had to sin because I didn't agree with him. One time in 29 years. I'm going to ask you again to convince me of this. Why would not the two people running for council, for mayor, not be a conflict of interest in their vote tonight, knowing that one of them is going to get that big raise? And I'm all for the raise. I don't have a problem with that. But one of them is going to be that person that gets that increase. To me, that's a conflict of interest. Convince me I'm wrong.
Legally, it's not a conflict of interest because of the fact it doesn't affect them in their current term.
But it's going to affect them when they run again.
If they win the second
If
time
they're the
around.
ones making the decision.
If we weren't, if the commission, or,
Just tell me I'm wrong.
no, I will never do that. The council, this council is the only one that can decide to make this change. No one else has the power to do that. If they didn't have the power to do it, it would never be able to be changed.
But there's other 3 people here that can vote on it. See, I'm convinced it's a conflict of interest for one of them, because one of them is going to get a big pay raise. So you're telling me I'm wrong?
It's not a conflict for me, Jerry. I've made my position on it now.
It's a conflict
So-
of interest.
No, because I'm against it.
Well, I don't care whether you're for it or against it. I'm for it, but it's still a conflict of interest. Whether you vote for it or vote against it. Because if you win it, you're going to get it.
I can't convince you.
So just shut up and sit down.
No, I'm just saying, I know I can't convince you, so.
Thank you for letting me at least voice it.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody else would like to speak on this item? David, you want to come up, please?
David Llewellyn, 212 Bengal Circle. It's the most exercise I've had all day. I wasn't at the previous hearing where these salaries were raised by Steve Graber, but I would say from my limited knowledge of your activities, I would have increased your salaries more, because there is nobody that works harder than you group. Whether I agree with you or not, you're still some very hardworking people, and I think you're more than entitled to your salary, whether or not you want it, Katie. So good luck and God bless.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? All right, then I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Now we're going to open up for discussion. Vice Mayor, you want to start off?
Well, I'm anxious to hear what everyone else has to say because I have spoken a lot on this subject, but I will go first. I don't think my position on it has changed. I have heard some back and forth regarding some of the reasons the money could be used elsewhere, which I don't necessarily disagree with. We just went through the budget work session. We had to take some of our, well, the entirety of our travel budget out in order to assist the charitable organizations, along with some other things. The millage rate that Councilmember Gannon, or excuse me, not the millage rate, but the ad valorem increase wasn't as high as we had hoped. All of that I've taken into consideration. There was also some discussion of we're holding it during the summer, which I completely understand. However, if we held it after summer was over, the unique nature of how the council's made up right now will no longer exist because Councilmember Grimes will no longer be sitting up here. So one of my main points was 80% of the council is going to change over. It's a unique circumstance. Generally doesn't happen. If it doesn't pass, of course, I will take that and understand. But my concern is, on a go-forward basis, the next time a new council is seated, each seat has a different person in there. That person will be most likely, or Mayor, if you run for re-election and win, you'd be in your second term and would be termed out. If Councilmember Gannon runs for mayor and wins, be in her first term as mayor. Seat 1, Seat 2, Seat 3, and Seat 4 will all be in their first terms. So everyone will be running for re-election most likely. And I understand the politics behind this. It's always a tough sell for everyone. Well, they're increasing their salaries for ourselves or for themselves. No, we're not. Because you either have to win re-election or you can't run. And so that's what I said in the last meeting. I'm honestly fine with it either way. Of course, I'm going to advocate for it. But if it doesn't pass, I don't get the raise. And if it passes, I don't get the raise. So that's where I'm approaching it from. It's a very central sort of, okay, this from ever since I started getting involved and even growing up in it, I haven't seen an 80% turnover, which is what we're going to see. I understand what the job entails. All of us do. I'm not going to speak to everyone else's young families, but we all know we have them. Like our kids are friends. The amount of time that it takes, the work that we do, the places that we need to be at, all of the things that encompass what we have to do, along with having a full-time job. It wasn't an astronomical sum that I was asking for to increase. And Dave, I appreciate you saying what you said, that you would have increased it more. The last time this came up, the discussion was to increase it more. It was $14,000 and $18,000. We couldn't get to an agreement on that, understood. So if you look at the breakdown of the numbers, it would be $133.33 a month increase for council members, and it would be $100 per month increase for the mayor. Would not occur until March of 2025, and then not again until March of 2027. So I thought, A, it was a small enough increase to make it worthwhile, and B, the amount of money would be spread out for 2.5 years, so the budgetary impact wouldn't be as severe if we did it in one fell swoop, which to the rules, it can't be done. However, I didn't think the budgetary impact was there. Again, I feel like I've said it over and over again, but seats 1, seats 2, seats 3, seats 4 are all going to have new occupants by the time an increase for those seats comes into play. May or may not. And that's why I brought it up now. Still believe it's worthwhile. However, I respect and appreciate everyone's comments and all of their arguments. I've tried to make mine, but I've also taken everything else into consideration with coming to this point. That's all I had, Mayor. I may have more after further discussion, but that's it for now.
Fine, thank you. Do you want to say anything, Councilmember Grimes? I know you.
I don't have a voice.
I know,
so
I understand.
I don't have much to say this evening, so sorry.
No problem, thank you. Councilmember Knapp?
I guess that makes two of us with funky voices tonight. I'm a little stuffed up. But yes, I do have some comments. I made some last time around about how, through the lens of, while it's not us, but it's the future person sitting in each of these seats, about basically denoting your ability to give yourself a raise versus getting it from the public, albeit we didn't get much public input on this process tonight. But just kind of this time around, thinking about it, was looking at it just purely from the numbers perspective, and I can appreciate the Vice Mayor's comments about what the raw dollar number impact is or change from the current pay versus the proposed changes to the pay. But just kind of a thought experiment of, if we as council members, and maybe the mayor might be an exception in terms of effort, as said, if we are putting in about 20 hours of effort a month, and maybe that's underestimating it, I don't know, but I felt like that was a fair number to kind of start at. With the current pay, then that essentially makes us being paid $35 an hour, which is a pretty favorable rate for effort, because I don't view it as work. But that's essentially what this compensation is. And then so by bumping that to that higher rate, we're essentially giving a 19% increase for council members. But at $35 an hour, if we were all working full-time, 40 hours a week, that's $72,000 a year. A modest income. It's not, you're not boosted into the super wealthy range. So I just kind of struggle to see that while the work that we're doing up here is important, I just don't know if it needs to change. I don't think any of us that are up here now, any people that are trying to get up here, or those that have served in the past, are doing it for the money. I haven't heard it from one person ever. So that gives me a lot of pause to really think if it's worth it. I would say it would be a much different conversation given the circumstances that Vice Mayor Graber brought up. If the numbers currently were far lower, take compared to Safety Harbor, given their size and the ratio of their salaries, or some other folks that are getting even far less, I think my position would be far different than where it is now. But yeah, it's a struggle for me to try to be a good steward of our tax dollars, again, given that this is a small portion of our overall budget. It makes it far less impactful in total compared to other items that we're spending much more money on. So I think that's all I have at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Gannon, I know you said no, but go ahead.
Certainly. It's an interesting thought experiment, Councilmember Knapp. I appreciate that. I did a similar thought experiment, and I appreciated our longtime resident Sudi Yantis Cologne's comments at the beginning of the meeting today. She was talking about the council's budget, where we allocated a certain number of dollars to local charitable organizations. And she was very complimentary, obviously, because we solved the problem of finding in the council budget, where this would be in the personnel side of the council budget, as opposed to the operational expenditure portion of the council's budget. And she said, we solved the problem together. And that meant a lot to me, and our work at that meeting meant a lot to me. Because to those folks, SUDA's organization's initial request was $7,000. And so when I look at some of those requests, and I think about increasing our salaries versus, allocating it to operational dollars there, it gives me pause. Also, the mathematical calculation that Councilmember Knapp just discussed, I can think of many of our staff members who make a lot less than that, who are working a lot harder than we are. And that's just my personal feeling on it. To address Mayor Beaverland's concern, I don't know if there is some way to make it effective in 2030 as opposed to, the next race so that it would literally affect none of us. I don't know if that's a possibility or a concern, but I would still have the same budgetary misgivings just given the situation we find ourselves in. The millage rate that is on tonight's agenda that we are looking to potentially certify for the umpteenth year in a row, and the asks that we make of, literally the people on the front of the proposed budget, our staff, to find the money to continue to operate and provide the level of service that they provide, and to give back to our community in the way that the council has traditionally done. I just don't see it as particularly necessary. I do appreciate, however, that Councilmember Graber brought this up, Vice Mayor Graber brought this up at a time that does work for a turnover of the council. I think that was smart. I think it's a difficult topic to bring up. And it's clear that there's no intention for any personal benefit there, and I appreciate that. I'm not sure if that could be a logical consideration to make the effective date some future time, and then we could budget accordingly, slowly, over the next couple of years for the increase. But, as it stands, those are just my feelings on it. And if y'all decide to pass it, and God willing, I am given the opportunity to be a leader for this city, I would be happy to donate that money to one of the charitable organizations on the list. It's just something that we all, have, I understand Councilmember Grimes, but something that we've all commented on and given our personal thoughts, and those are mine. So thank you all. I appreciate your honesty.
Thank you. All right, I have just a few comments. First of all, Vice Mayor, I really want to thank you for bringing this to the table, because I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I believe you brought it up at the,
It was almost
2 years ago?
four. No, it was 2021.
21?
Because it came from the ordinance review committee.
Ordinance review, I remember you brought that up, and I thought that was a great idea. So I just have a lot of respect for that. I want to make one point to what Councilmember Knapp said. As a council member, you're right, it's about 20 hours a month. It could be a little bit more.
Highs and lows, right?
Yeah, I think you're right about that, but as a mayor, it triples. It's beyond belief of how much dedication and time it takes to get back to work, just get involved, whatever it is, PSTA, mayor's council, whatever it is, it takes a lot of time and effort. As far as Councilmember Gannon mentioned in regards to giving the money to donations, that's fine. I believe that I stepped up to the plate. I gave my $2,000 this year. I don't plan on traveling next year for Florida League of Cities or any other item. So, I must agree with Suda and what she said this evening. I think it was one of the best workshops that we've ever had. We really did come together. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of moving parts at that workshop, but we did. We all came together. We worked together, and we solved the issues. And I thought she hit it right on the nail on the head. We all came front forward and got it done. As far as the pay goes for what Vice Mayor is asking for, I don't even think this is out of line, as David mentioned and the Mayor Beaverland mentioned. I don't believe this is out of line at all. I actually am for this, and I don't have a problem with this. As Councilmember Gannon said, I don't think any of us, none of us, are in this for the money. I know I'm not, because of what I've been doing for the last 2 years as mayor, a little over 2 years. I am not in it for the money. I am in it for the citizens of this city. But this pay raise is not enough for me to vote no. Not enough. As David Llewellyn said, I kind of agree. It should be higher, but I'm not going to go there. In closing, I want to thank Vice Mayor and all of you for all your hard work in bringing this to the table. I am just really grateful to be the mayor of this city and to be able to work with each and every one of you. That's all I have to say.
And Mayor, if I,
Yes, you wanted to, something?
just in response to some of what was said, none of us are in it for the money. It's $700 a month, right? With the work that we do. I don't know, I don't track my hours. I just do the job. I don't think of it as work either. And Councilmember Gannon, I appreciate you saying there's no personal benefit, because there isn't. And either way it goes, there's none. It's more of a signal to future council members. Hey, we kind of know everything that goes on, and it can get hairy sometimes. I think there's a lot of great benefits to it as well. You get to serve the community, you get to be a part of different events, you get to be out there, you get to meet so many different people, make so many new connections, serve the people. The entire point is, it's what a unique changeover. Is there something we can do now? And that's all it is. And what I've found after thankfully getting reelected is, well, now that I'm in my second term, I'm going to term out, difficult conversations should be brought up. And this was one where I saw it and I said, you know what? There's nothing that I'm trying to say, okay, well, maybe I can wait. Or this didn't come up in my first term. But after I got reelected, it was, you know, this is weird. There's going to be 4 new people up here. And that was part of the reason too, where it's just, okay, let's have the difficult discussions. All of us are up here. Councilmember Grimes will be done in August. Councilmember Knapp and I will be done in March of 2027. And Councilmember Gannon terms out for seat 4 in March of 2025. And so it's just a different set of circumstances. So just wanted to make those a few more points, but that's all I had. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And does anybody else have any more comments? Please feel free. We good?
Okay.
All right. Where do we go now, Tom?
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote?
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes. Yes. Councilmember Knapp,
No.
Councilmember Gannon,
No.
Mayor Shiraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-12 passes with 3 votes for and 2 against.
All right. We did it.
Item number 20, adopt resolution 2024-28. I'll read that resolution by title only. Resolution 2024-28, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the rules of procedure for the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, repealing resolutions 2022-18, 2020-36, and 2020-39, and all resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date hereof. That was the reading of resolution 2024-28 by title only.
Thank you. All right. I need a motion to approve.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I got Councilmember Gannon as a second. Any other discussion on this item?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 21.
Adopt resolution 2024-24. I'll read that by title only. Resolution 2024-24, resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, reestablishing the Veterans Advisory Board, revising attendance requirements, providing for repeal of resolution 2024-2, and providing for an effective date hereof. That was the reading of resolution 2024-24 by title only.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All right, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 22, adopt resolution 2024-25. I'll read that resolution by title only. Resolution 2024-25, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, reestablishing the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, revising attendance requirements, repealing resolutions 2024-22, and providing for an effective date hereof. There was a reading of resolution 2024-25 by title only.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 23 is adopt resolution 2024-26. I'll read that by title only. Resolution 2024-26, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar pursuant to Section 6.06 of the City Charter, acknowledging that the City Council shall sit as the canvassing board for the August 20th, 2024 special election and providing for an effective date hereof. That was reading of Resolution 2024-26 by title only.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Tom. Great job.
Thank you.
You did
Got there.
wonderful tonight. Knocked it out of the park. All right, next is our city manager, Felicia Donnelly. You got the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 24 is authorize the city manager to certify a proposed millage rate of 4.05 mils to the Pinellas County Property Appraiser. The city maintained a millage rate of 4.75 mils from 1988 to 1997. From 1998 to 2005, the millage rate was lowered to 4.65. In 2006, the millage rate was 4.60. In 2007, it was 4.0722. And in 2008 to 2024, it's been 4.05 mils. In the current year, the taxable assessed value of the city increased from the prior year. The increase in current taxable values results in a rolled back rate of 3.8864 mils. The rolled back rate is the millage which will produce the same revenue as the previous year. Therefore, the rolled back rate is lower than the proposed millage rate. Staff is proposing a millage rate of 4.05 for the 17th consecutive year. In order for the property appraiser to prepare required notices on proposed property taxes, which will be mailed to each property owner by August 19, 2024, we must return the certification of taxable value to the property appraiser by July 30, 2024. The council may adopt a lower millage rate based on decisions at the budget work sessions or as a result of public hearings on the budget, which will be conducted in September. However, the council may not adopt a higher millage rate than the rate now being certified to the property appraiser. For a home assessed at $250,000 with a $50,000 homestead exemption, the ad valorem taxes levied by the city would be $810. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you very much. I need a motion for approval.
Moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this?
17 years.
Can't believe you did it.
Belts really tight.
There's some sorcery up in here.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to thank the city manager and all of our department heads, administrative services, Cindy. I look forward to reading through this proposed budget. I already love the cover.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. All right, any other comments? Vice Mayor, anything?
No, just happily unexpected. Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, city manager and staff. Great job keeping it real. Thank you. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 25.
Item number 25 is adopt resolution 2024-27 approving the library material review policy. The city has received a request to remove materials from the library collection. Staff has recommended that a library material review policy be created to provide a process for review. The policy and procedures are attached, and I'll read the resolution by title only. Resolution 2024-27, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting a policy outlining the procedure for individuals to request reconsideration of public library materials and providing for an effective date hereof.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion on this?
Thank you, Susan.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 26.
Item number 27 is approve the Oldsmar Historical Society transfer agreement.
You skip.
Oh, I skipped 26, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Item number 26 is approve lease termination agreement with the Oldsmar Historical Society. The Oldsmar Historical Society is dissolving their organization and transferring their collection to the city. They will no longer be able to fulfill the requirements of the previously signed lease agreement. The lease is attached for your review, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
I have a motion from the vice mayor and a second from Councilmember Knapp. Any other discussion? I just want to say that I've been involved in the Historical Society since around 2013. This is, we've really tried to build membership. We really tried to build attendance, and it just didn't work. We were doing mailings, we did membership mailings, we tried. And I just want to say that the Historical Society is a great part of our history for the city of Oldsmar. It truly is, and I can only thank Felicia Donnelly, our city manager, and staff, and the library, Susan, for being involved the last year to really get to know who we are and what our Historical Society is all about. And thank you to the city of Oldsmar for taking it over. Very grateful. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 27 now. Approve the Oldsmar Historical Society transfer agreement. The Oldsmar Historical Society, as a Florida not-for-profit organization, will be dissolving on July 31st. The agreement attached will transfer ownership of the items in their collection to the city under the terms set forth in the attached agreement. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Felicia, for your wonderful job today. Next item is item 28, and that will be taken care of by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 28, schedule special meeting for Saturday, August 17th, 2024 at 9 a.m. to be held in council chambers, 101 State Street. The city received 2 proposals to redevelop the Town Center City Hall 8-acre site. The city will hear formal presentations from the developers, ask questions, and score each proposal based on specific criteria. Staff recommends that the special council meeting be scheduled for Saturday, August 17th, 2024 at 9 a.m. to be held here in council chambers.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? No. We'll see you on August 17th. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 29.
Item 29, schedule canvassing board meeting for August 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. In order to comply with the charter, staff recommends scheduling the local canvassing board meeting on August 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. to be held here in council chambers, 101 State Street, West Oldsmar.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 30 is a city council item, approved distribution of $270,837 of federal fiscal year 24-25 Irwin Byrd Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program funds. Do you want to mention something about that, City Manager, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So item number 30, the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, it's known as the JAG Grant, is a national formula-based block grant program administered by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, with the goal of improving the criminal justice system. The JAG program provides funds to local units of government as well as state criminal justice agencies to enhance initiatives in the jurisdiction. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement requests that the City of Oldsmar, along with other agencies, approve the distribution of funds to be in compliance with Florida Administrative Code Rule 11D-9.
All right, thank you. And in your packet, it's attached of where that money is going to. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 31 is council comments, and we're going to start out with Council Member Katie Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I have something that is not mine to announce, but I'm going to announce it anyway, and I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, Felicia. But, you know, Tatiana's not here anymore this evening. Of course, I'm sure she wanted to go home. This is a lot of hard work that's been literally decades in the making. It was announced today that Oldsmar has achieved the FEMA Class 5 rating. And I know everybody's like, what? So what this means is, back when we started participating in the community rating system in 1992, we were a class 10. And that affects our insurance rates that all of us as residents pay. And then for the past 18 years, we've maintained a class 6 rating, which is great. That's 20% premium discounts for our citizens. And after years of work and really picking away at all the different things we could do, whether it was, changing the code to make, the break, remember the limois and the breakaway walls and the flood requirements, whether it was, updating some of our ordinances, whether it was, doing sustainability initiatives and kind of taking a look at our vulnerabilities, the different studies that we've done, looking at our stormwater, all of these little steps along the way take us now from a 20% as a class 6 community, a 20% discount on premiums to a 25% discount on flood insurance premiums. And, I cannot say enough about our staff members who have worked so hard on this for such a long time, and to see it finally pay off it's got to be incredibly gratifying. And we don't often have the chance to congratulate them or thank them for their hard work, and this to me is the best forum to do that in, as we often do. So I would encourage everybody to read the press release that went out from the city. I'm hoping that we will see some social media postings, I'm sure we will, so that we can share all of this good news with our residents. There's a nice quote from Felicia as well. But this is a big deal. And I am hoping that, and I know, because I know this staff and I know our city manager and I know Tatiana, and the work won't stop here. And I know that she's probably already got an idea for how we can make it to, class 4 and have a 30%, reduction. So I'm just so proud of our staff, once again, as usual, for doing the hard work and making our city look so good, making us look good. And I really wanted to just highlight that tonight. Thank you.
Great job. All right. Next is Councilmember Andrew Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. I'm really looking forward to the open house happening tomorrow, but also for those out in the audience, then we also get to see those proposals as well. We won't be there, but we get to start to see those and digest them, get a chance for us to come up with our own set of questions, and look forward to the public feedback that I know we will get from these two things to consider. So I'm super excited about it. I have high hope that we will get something that everybody can be excited about. The next thing is last week we had a Ford Pinellas meeting. There was a little bit of discussion again about the regional merger that's being considered and kind of how apportionment takes place. There's definitely a lot of concern amongst all the smaller municipalities that are currently part of, being represented in Ford Pinellas about their voice essentially being further diminished by having a regional merger take place. So I would anticipate that there will be some kind of like tier or hierarchy. At least that's what I'd like to advocate for, is so that there can be some kind of committees that kind of at lower levels make some decisions. Executive Director Whit Blanton had mentioned that they do have programs and intend to continue to develop programs that will allow for smaller cities with less resources to still have access to the means of getting money and getting projects on their calendars. So that's just something I wanted to make everybody aware of. It's definitely a concern of others, both on the beach communities and the smaller inland communities of our county, that by merging with Pasco and Hillsborough, our voice could be less loud, essentially. So just something to keep aware of. And then the last thing, I'm going to try to keep it together a little bit, but as you can probably tell, I don't feel great sitting up here right now, but it was important for me to be here tonight, given the events of last weekend, as well as what today means for everybody here in the city of Oldsmar. You know, we saw probably countless posts and comments about violence has no place in politics. And I think the history books would disagree with that, because over the years in the founding of our country, we were kind of birthed out of violence, if you want to be realistic about it. But we've lost 4 presidents, almost 10% of our presidents in office. 3 more were injured. So in total, then you got 15% of presidents that have either gravely suffered injuries or barely gotten out alive. But in total, there's been close to 20 between all the people that have been attacked, and those that plots have been unearthed and thankfully stopped far in advance. It's unfortunately been part of our fabric, and it's something that makes me really hate that, unfortunately, and I don't like to use the word hate. So I think a better saying is violence has no longer has a place in politics, looking forward, because, it's scary out there. So I'm thankful that President Trump was not killed, because that could have put our country in a far worse place than where it is today. And people like Corporal Frank Gross did not die so other people could kill presidents and other elected officials. And I tried to reach out to the Grosses earlier today, and I just hope they're doing well. I know it's tough for everyone. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Knapp. Very touching. Councilmember Grimes, you can't, okay.
No.
No, I understand.
Nothing to be said tonight.
All right, and then we have Vice Mayor Steve Graber.
Thank you, Mayor. Well said, Andrew. The Grosses, as I know you know, but they're neighbors of mine. I've seen them. I didn't see them today. I've seen them on this day before. Always ask how they are. They always tell me they're doing fine. But they're friends of mine and live around the corner, so I echo, no need to repeat it, what Councilmember Knapp had said. The open house tomorrow, 4 to 8 at Tico Hall, as many people as you can tell. I heard in the audience tonight that it's Thursday. It's not. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow, 4 to 8 at Tico Hall. Did I get my postcard?
Kristen probably has
Yeah.
some spares.
I've been made aware of when it is. Thank you, Jason. The elections, special elections, fast approaching. Mail-in ballots they're starting to show up, I think. And remember, there's also primaries going on in that election. It's an important election. It's on a weird day, as I've mentioned before, but it's important. The candidates put in a lot of hard work, as all of us know. It's time-consuming, and when the day gets there, you get to wait until about 7:30 to find out. So it's a lot of fun. But just going through it ourselves, I just wanted to make sure everybody keep that on the front of your minds as well. Little Women, I wasn't able to go. I was being dad for my son, but my wife and my daughter got to go. Somebody else's wife and daughter got to go.
Tried to go.
I heard the daughter might have been talking too much. Andrew. But they said it was excellent. And when it ended, my daughter said, wow, that was really short. She wanted it to continue. So the kids put on a great performance, the entire cast. And the performance of Cats tonight.
Amazing.
But just the teenage girl, I mean, just in front of people they don't know and being able to just keep it together and just do such an excellent
amazing.
job. It really was, I was blown away. And when we stood up, one of them just looked at me and was like it couldn't, I'm just like, no, you did an excellent job.
I
And you
can't
just,
even imagine having that courage.
and just one, and one fun thing, well, two, first of all, happy early birthday, Mayor.
Thank you.
I won't say how old you are, but I'm 45 and you're 20 years older than me for most of the year, so. But congratulations on reaching that milestone, sir.
Thank you.
My
Thank you
fa-
for that
my-
dig.
It wasn't a dig. It's just numbers, as Councilmember Knapp was talking about earlier. So my entire family, my entire family took a trip to DC to see my sister, see some fireworks, and then we went up to New York City. Posted some pictures on Facebook for all the feedback that we got, but and we didn't tour DC, but they were able to see the White House, they were able to see the Washington Monument. We were pointing all this stuff out. I pointed the White House out to my son. He asked if that house had stairs, because apparently I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, because our house doesn't. But yeah, the White House has stairs, in case anybody else needed to know that. But we did carriage rides through Central Park. We did the Friends experience, as I had mentioned too, which was really cool. And if you ever get a chance and you're a fan of the show, or even if you're not, like the kids kind of know it because Kelly has it on all the time. It's really cool. Like the first thing you do is just sit in front of the fountain, and you can get this picture card, and the staff takes your picture professionally, but then they take your phone, so you can have the pictures right away, and then the professional pictures can come later. And you just walk through, and you go to Central Park and Joey and Chandler's apartment, and you can play foosball, and you can sit on whatever that, is it the horse or something, statue, and you can pose. Staff couldn't be friendlier. Had a really nice time doing that. I asked my daughter what her favorite part was. Of course, she said The Lion King on Broadway. She also loved the pigeons and was trying to name all of them that she saw, which is an impossible task, but she tried. And then my son's favorite part about it was the French toast he got twice at the same diner. So he got to go to a New York City diner and really loved the French toast. So if I can offer any suggestions, if any of you go up there, I'll tell you where to go. But that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to bring up Orlando's Theater of Little Women this past Saturday. I did see Kelly and Nicole were there. It was a great performance at the United Methodist Church. They had two performances. I was there for the first one. Like you said, the two young teenagers that were just here tonight for Cats, I'm looking forward to go to see their performance at Dunedin High School. He does a great job for the city, and I'm glad he's here and he supports us. On Friday, Liz Martin, thank you for being here tonight. She attended my Mental Health Awareness Day at noon at City Hall. We had, I don't know, about 25, 30 people attend, and we just did a moment of silence for mental health awareness. And I just want to thank you for coming out. It meant the world to me, and especially city staff that came out, that came down, and a bunch of residents showed up. I just want to thank all of you for that. A little bit of kindness does go a long way, and that was a truly statement of a little bit of kindness. So thank you again. I have a quick update for PSTA. I'm sure you heard this. It's been all over the news. PSTA was awarded a $27.8 million federal grant funding for electric and hybrid buses. I'm sure, Andrew Knapp, you're excited about that.
Yeah, Gina announced that at Ford Pine House, like right off the press.
Yeah, really great news. It's the first time I went to DC about a year and a half ago. I actually met with the Federal Department of Transportation, and we advocated for this. And, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it happened. PSTA is going to buy at least 16 all-electric electric and hybrid electric buses to replace the oldest 19-year-old diesel buses. Charging infrastructure and workforce training funds are also included in that funding. This is the largest federal grant awarded to PSTA in its 40-year history. $27.8 million in 40 years. That's amazing. PSTA received the largest amount of funds in the state of Florida, but just slightly more than Gainesville, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale, who received 25 and 27 million as well. Currently, PSTA has 12 electric buses running right now and 92 hybrid buses as part of its fleet of over 200 full-size buses. Another 56 all-electric replacement buses are soon to be delivered, and this new grant award will at least give us 16 more to the fleet. PSTA has calculated that each all-electric bus saves over $25,000 a year in operating expenses compared to a diesel bus. The cost of electricity is much lower per mile than the cost of diesel per mile, and electric buses have a lower maintenance cost because electric motors have fewer moving parts. In total, PSTA's estimated its electric fleet in saving over $500,000, $500,000 in net costs every year, and this grant will increase that savings even more. The grant awarded to PSTA is a part of a $1.5 billion program for low and no emission buses announced by the federal government last week. So congratulations to PSTA on that. That was a great opportunity. I'm glad to be a part of that. I have to thank Mayor Seidel for putting me on that board. I really do truly love being on PSTA. And with that, I need item 32, approve the tentative agenda for the August 6, 2024 council meeting. Does anyone wish to pull or add anything to the agenda? With that, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the tentative agenda? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Great meeting. Meeting adjourned.